Did you ever tell your parents you're at a friend's house, studying, doing regular friend things at their house, being monitored by adults, but in reality, you're actually in a field getting drunk? If so, join us for this episode of Breath Control and Bad Decisions, a Gen X podcast. I'm Gen X, I'm a musician, and this is my co host.
Hey, I'm Salty Jade. I'm a respiratory therapist.
And today, we're going to talk about our underage drinking as Gen Xers.
Yeah, I used to always tell my parents that I was spending the night at friends' houses. That's the only way I got away with it. How about you?
Always, always. I can't even think of where else I could be as somebody who couldn't drive yet. Well, maybe I could drive. When did I start drinking? Well, you know what? I don't even know. I can't remember.
I
Those are
did
brain
start
cells.
drinking before I could drive.
Yeah, I think I did too. Those are brain cells long gone. Yeah, like where else was I going to be, right? Oh, I had a
Yeah,
long day at work, so I'm stopping off at the bar. Well, no, the only place you could go is I'm going to be at a friend's house. Where else were you going to be? I go into the movies, but it was going to be like, well, how you getting there? How you getting home? So yeah, it's always I'm going to be at a friend's house. And I
I'm
had a
just
specific
glad we
friend,
didn't
like,
have location sharing.
it wasn't oh, thank God, right? It wasn't, just, I'm gonna be at a friend's, it was always, I'm going to be at this particular friend. So for me, it was always, I'm gonna be at Cindy's house, and for Cindy, it was always, she was gonna be at my house. It was just we lived right down the street, we were walking, we could walk to and from. It was fine.
In hindsight, it's horrible, but I had a friend, Stephanie. Her mom would call my parents and say, "Okay, the girls are here. I have Julie's keys." And then she would hand me my keys back and say, "Have a good time, girls."
Oh
And
my
yeah,
God. Come on, even parents
yeah.
back then knew. I mean, and they knew, they've always known. That's horrible. Oh my God, that's horrible.
I mean, at the
That
time,
is
I
that
thought
is
she was the cool
horrible.
mom, but yeah,
Well, just because she was trying to be, my God.
yeah,
That's awful. That
yeah.
is, yeah, that's terrible. I didn't know any parents that were like that. None of my friends' parents were enablers. None of them wanted to be our friends. They were parents, and we knew that. That is,
So
wow, that I my mind is blown. And I'm sure that you're not the only one. I am positive that there were other parents that were like that. I'm positive of
yeah.
that, but whew, that's a
Well, she didn't buy us the alcohol, but
well,
she
that's
knew what we were doing.
good. But you know what you were doing. I can't
Yeah.
remember who bought us the alcohol. Like, my brother was 2 years older than me, and he was the drinking age. He got to start drinking when he was 18 because he there was a grandfather law that got passed in 80. I don't know. He graduated in 86, so he could drink at 18, I could not. He was grandfathered in. So, but I don't think I ever asked my brother to get me booze because I know he wouldn't. Even though he smoked and he drank, like, he wasn't gonna enable me to do that, and he was still protective of me, you know what I mean? Like, he did not do
Yeah.
those things. So, where did we get it from? I think I think her boyfriend, who was her age, because she was 2 years older than me, his brother was 21, and I think that's how we got it. I think we got it from him.
Well, I
And then
won't say his name to incriminate him,
yeah.
but we had somebody that was older than us that he had a lisp and he was just not quite right.
Mhm.
And he hung out with a bunch of younger kids and he would buy us all alcohol. And yeah, like,
Yeah, that's
I
the
mean,
classic
nice
classic
guy. I
it's
feel
the classic, let's take advantage of the guy who just wants to have friends.
yeah, and like we were assholes for doing it,
Well, yeah, but your
but I mean,
kids are dumb, teenagers are dumb, our frontal lobes weren't fully developed. Hell, mine
yeah,
wasn't
and we
fully developed
liked
till I was into my
him.
20s, for God's sake.
And he's a nice guy. I just think he didn't understand the implications of it, and we just said, "Hey, this is the easy way to get it," you know?
Yeah.
So and I would steal some from my dad sometimes,
Oh
and
god.
as an adult, he had this gallon of vodka, like a
Mhm.
gallon jar,
Yeah, and a
and I
handle.
said, "Dad, we filled that up with half water, half vodka." And he laughed so hard, and he was like, "I never knew. I never knew." 'Cause,
Oh.
of course, when you're an adult, you just tell everything you
Well,
did, but
yeah, yeah, because what are your parents gonna do now?
yeah, put me on restrictions? No. Take
Yeah.
my phone?
No.
No.
I never did that. I was terrified of, I mean, I'm Italian, I was terrified of my parents, and I wasn't terrified in that, in the strictest definition of the word, but you know what I mean. And they had a in the living room, we had a dry sink, and underneath it was our record player, but also next to that was the booze. And it's still like that. If I go down to their house now, I can still open that dry sink, and that's where they keep the booze.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's shit in there that's decades old. I'm like, you should probably throw that out. Like,
Well,
there's
that's
some
odd because the
there's
only
there's
thing I
some things
took
that I look to check to see if there's like value because I haven't been open. I'm like, when did you get this? And oh, we got that as a gift from someone. I'm like, I'm gonna check the value of that. So there's one thing that I made him keep. I'm like, okay, keep that. I'm like, the rest of this is stuff that we buy when we come down. So that's fine. It's only a year old, whatever. But other stuff is really old.
yeah.
But I never and the thing is that it was always, like, the hardest like, it wasn't even vodka, it was, like, bourbon, and my mom had wild turkey, and, like, it was and raw like, it was harder shit, and I was like, "I can't try."
My dad's drink of choice was Crown, and
Yeah.
he would actually give me shots as a kid at New Year's and,
Mhm.
like, certain parties, and
Yeah.
in hindsight, he was doing that because they were having a party and it would make me go to bed, which is
Yeah.
horrible, but it's
Well, I mean,
true.
it's that whole what did they say when your kids were teething, wrote a little whiskey on their gums and it'll set
Yeah,
them up for them to
yeah,
sleep? Yeah, that's
yeah.
just you're putting it on your finger, it's not gonna hurt anything, but I remember I was 13 and my dad had he drank scotch back then, and I remember I wanted a sip of it, and he knew what he was doing, he gave me a sip, and I was like, "Oh god, that's vile." He knew what he was doing. I still can't drink scotch to this day, and I have 18-year-old Macallan sitting on my bar because I don't drink it's for gas, I won't drink it. I just I don't like it, and it's just I seriously it's just from that one sip, like, it's still I was 13, I am 54. That sip, I can still taste it, and it was so gross.
So I tried to do a little research before this episode and tried to look at, like, what alcohols were most popular back then,
Mhm.
and none of the stuff I drank came up at all. So then I just searched for, like, lower tax brackets to see if that was it, like, if I just wasn't affording the good alcohol. But
Well, yeah, we were teenagers. "Here's $1, what can
yeah,
you get me?"
well, I know we drank Boone's Farm wine all the time, and we drank, oh my god, malt liquor, Old English 800,
Oh.
and
Ugh.
yeah,
Ugh.
and
Well,
Brass
I got that gave
Monkey,
me a chill.
and the one that almost killed me was Night Train.
Yeah, there's a song about that for a reason.
I've never heard the song, we need
It's
to
you
get
haven't heard the
that.
GNR song, The Night Train?
No, but I'm
Girl,
gonna listen to it now. What did you drink?
that's that song exists for a reason. A lot of wine coolers. Remember when Jack Daniels came out with their wine coolers?
Yeah.
And Jack Daniels, the Bartles and James. If it was a wine cooler, like, because we were girls, it was like, "Oh, it's sweet." It didn't feel bad, like, it was like, "Oh, it tastes good." Um, so a lot of wine coolers. If we
Fuzzy
were ever gonna
Navels.
Yes, I remember that, and it's weird 'cause I hate peaches, but I would drink, like, one of those and be like, "That's enough of that." Sweet wines because your palate isn't developed for wine, so you're like, "If it's sweet, I'm drinking it." And there are grown-ups who like sweet wines, and that's fine. As an adult, when I first started drinking wine again, I started drinking sweet wine, and then I was like, "Oh, I can't drink sweet wine at all. They're terrible. They're just for me, they're way too sweet." But as a teenager, yeah, if you got your hand on a sweet wine, oh, yeah, that's good. So and then the worst one of all for me and my friend there was a alcohol, it was called Maui. It was red, and it kinda tasted like Hawaiian punch. And
It
it
sounds
was
good.
called Maui. I mean, it's called Maui, so it's a Hawaiian style tropical mixer. Was it an alcohol that you mix so you didn't drink it straight? I mean, I guess you could, I don't know. So, we got a full bottle of that from somebody. Somewhere, somebody, somehow, we got this bottle of Maui, and we mixed it with 7 Up, and she and I drank the entire bottle that night, like, the entire bottle, and we were both so sick the next day. Just throwing up red and that flavor, you know what I'm talking about. And you're hungover and
I
you're throwing
haven't
up at, like
tried that
you're like
drink, but I didn't have that that experience that bad until an adult, and then it was Fireball, yeah.
Yeah, imagine Fireball coming
I
up.
still
With a
won't even eat, like, cinnamon toast anymore or
yeah,
cinnamon
I
rolls,
can't
like,
I won't
I'm
as a
ruined.
general rule, if the alcohol is red or the drink is red, I won't touch it because it reminds me of that. So, like, if I'm on a beach and they're like, "Oh, you want a strawberry daiquiri?" I'm like, "Oh god, no, no." I know it's gonna be delicious, but no. Because red, it's just so that's what it was for me. It was called Maui.
And then we had some really cool people, they were older than us. They would get kegs, and we would go out in the woods and have parties, like, with big bonfires.
Oh, yeah, field parties, field parties. We
Yeah,
call them
well,
field parties.
we said it was our own, like, sorority thing, and we called it Kappa Mega Kega,
Oh,
and
nice.
w
We're so clever.
we would go like, just hang out, and it was really cool. I actually would like to do that now because it was fun.
Yeah, we had, the older teenagers, like my brother's age, they would have field parties, and we would go. It was the bonfire and the kegs and whatever else. I remember my friend Shannon and I went to one when we were I think we had already graduated high school, so I graduated a year early, so I was 16 and she was 17, and well, no, I think we were in our senior year. So I was 16, she was 17. Oh, wait, nope, back up, nope, 'cause I had my car, and I got my car after I graduated, so I was well, I still would have been 16, I wouldn't have been 17 yet at the time, because I got it for graduation, it was very shortly after graduation, so I was 16, she was 17, and one of our classmates was having a party, and then she lived in this big house that was up high on this hill that overlooked the interstate, and they just had a lot of property, and so we were having a field party out there, and for whatever reason, Shannon and I got this was a in where we lived in Cincinnati, it was a beer called Little King's Cream Ale, and I don't know if it was available, and I don't know if it was regional or not, but it's called Little King's Cream Ale, and it came in these little small bottles, and I had a trunk full of them for some reason. I have no idea why. I don't know where we got them, but we had them at this party. And then for whatever reason, she and I got we were so shithoused. We went into the house and we're still having, we still have these little King's cream ale, and our stupid rat drunk brains were like, cream ale, cream. Oh, we should have ice cream. And we made beer floats out of Little King's cream ale and ice cream, and it was the most vile trash ever.
Really? Because I was just thinking that might be good.
Well,
It's not good, huh?
and you're stone cold sober. We were so shithoused that it just sounded and it was probably good at the time, like, when we first had it, but then after a couple of scoops in, you're like, "Oh, this doesn't taste good.
Yeah,
This is
there's probably
bad."
not, like, beer ice cream for a reason.
Yeah, because it's disgusting. But when you've got your feral little drunk brain operating
Yeah.
on, one one firing neuron. And it's like, "Cream ale? Oh, you would give that ice cream." I mean, it says cream ale right in the name, it's gotta be creamy and delicious with ice cream, so put it in there. So, yeah, that was one fail, that was a fail, and then, oh, I wanna say, like, 2 or 3 months later, a friend of my brother's who had an apartment, 'cause they were, like, 19 at the time, we went to their apartment, and they were having a party, and, again, Shannon and I were shithouse hammered at this party, and we were I don't know for you, but for me, every single time I got drunk, I was like, "I'm starving!" Like, I always had to eat. She and I started digging in the freezer to see what we could find, and he had, I think he had some fish sticks and some bread, so we made fish stick sandwiches, and they were the best fish stick sandwiches ever. They were so good.
It was called savory crescent chicken squares, and it's like crescent rolls, cream cheese, peas, and canned chicken.
Mhm.
It sounds gross, but it was so good.
It doesn't sound gross. I mean, canned chicken is fine, like the Swanson's chicken, that Swanson's white meat chicken. Is that what you're talking about?
Actually, that kinda makes me wanna make them, like, just to
Yeah, that
remember,
doesn't
but
sound bad. I assume you cooked everything, right?
oh, yeah, it was actually people loved it. You know
Yeah,
what?
it's
I'll
that
post
sounds
it.
good.
I'll post the recipe and see if people
Yeah,
wanna have it for their
that
drunk
sounds
food.
good. I mean, I don't need to post a recipe for fish stick sandwiches. It's literally toast the bread, put some cheese and some mayo or tartar sauce on there, whatever you like, and then slap some cooked fish sticks on there and eat and chow down. So good. They were so
Oh,
good. I would
yeah,
eat
and
those today.
fish sticks were the shit back then,
Yeah,
like,
and
so
she and I
good.
still talk about those. We're in our 50s and we still talk about those fish stick sandwiches. We're
You
like,
need
"Those
to
were
make
so
those
good."
too. Let's do it as a walk down memory lane.
I'd have to
So,
go buy fish sticks.
I don't wanna incriminate you, but I know that I smoked a lot of pot back then, did you?
I didn't smoke a lot. I it just it wasn't really my thing. If it was around, I would smoke it, but it wasn't
Common.
really something that I mean, I had a lot of friends that did, and,
I
it was fine. I just wasn't if I wanted to, I'd partake, if not, I didn't. I mean, I remember making bombs out of everything, though, like, when we had it.
That's
I
awesome. Oh,
mean,
yeah, like apples and
apples, 2-liter
soda
empty 2-liter
can.
bottles, cans, toilet paper rolls, paper towel rolls. Yeah, you make bombs out of everything. That I mean,
There was this one house.
smoking pot leads to carpentry, not other drugs.
It's true. There was this house at Florida State, I don't know if it was a fraternity house or just somebody's house, but they built a bong where they ran a pipe up to the 2nd floor of the house, so
Mhm.
you had to run upstairs to take a hit while somebody at the bottom lit the bowl, and
Oh
it
my
was the
gosh.
funniest thing ever.
That is way too much work to get high.
It was fun, and then when you talked about, like, the eating, with the alcohol, alcohol doesn't make me wanna eat, but that reminded me the pot really did, so, I remember I loved chocolate milk and hot wings, and I remember some of us
I mean
got really high.
technically, that's kind of a good combination because the milk takes care of the heat. It's
Oh,
the
it was so
chocolate
good.
it's that chocolate part of it that's throwing me off.
Well, we went to a convenience store, there was 3 of us, and we wanted chocolate milk, and we got to the register, and none of us had brought our wallet, and we were so high, and we just sat in like, the cashier was probably looking like, we probably looked like Beavis and Butthead, like, just dumb, and,
Of course
the
you did.
cashier was like, "The total is $3.99," and we all just were, like, tapping our pockets and crying, laughing, and then we had to leave without chocolate milk. I'm telling you though, I
And it's
actually feel
really,
like
really
some of that stuff's
heartbreaking
kinda wholesome.
when you want something and you're high or drunk and you can't have it for whatever reason, you're just so sad about it.
We were, but it was so embarrassing. Like, I wish there was a video or some commentary by the cashier because I know they were just like, "These people are idiots," or "What is wrong with these people?" But,
No, she's like,
yeah.
look at these stoned idiots. They think they're cool. They all forgot their wallets. They're dummies, and I'm having to ring these assholes up. And
And then
now I
take
gotta
it
avoid
off.
this transaction and go put the milk back. Fucking assholes. Get out of my store.
That's probably what they were thinking. I don't remember
Yeah.
them kicking us out, but I don't know. It was funny. It was actually really just hilarious.
I
But,
think
yeah,
I made one of the grossest snacks I'd ever made. And when I came home, I was really high, and, my dad was still up. He was watching TV. My mom was already in bed. And I know that my parents because you can't mask pot smoke. You can't. I mean, you just can't.
yeah,
You think you're like, "Oh, nobody can" yeah, everybody can smell it. Like, you can walk down the
from
street
a
now
mile
and be like
away.
"There's somebody smoking around here." So, I came home and I was really hungry, but I wanted something sweet, but I just my brain was not firing. I'm like, "I don't know what to make. I don't know what to have." So, I took out bread. I got 2 pieces of bread. I, put I spread marshmallow fluff on them, and then I sprinkled chocolate chips on them, and then I put them in the toaster oven because you could, toaster ovens, your bread goes flat. I put
Yeah.
it in the toaster oven and I baked it, and I stood in front of that toaster oven, and I was wringing my hands together because I could not wait to get my hands on this deliciousness. Like, I was just standing there wringing my hands and drooling, and my dad came in, he goes, "What are you making?" And I told him, and he goes, "That's the most disgusting thing I've ever heard of. Never make that again." And then he went
Sounds good to me, and I'm not high.
like, now I look at that and go, "Well, that's really I was really just making a s'more just on bread." Right?
We were we worked at, Hungry Howie's Pizza, and we would all go in the freezer and get high, like, all of us,
Yeah.
and I'd run the register, and people would come in like, "Hey, I'd like a pepperoni pizza," And this is right by Florida State, so it was all college kids coming in. But
Yeah.
sometimes I'd be like so high, I'd be like, "What did you want again? What was that again?"
What was
And
wait, what were we talking about?
yeah, and then one time I stapled the receipt to my finger, it went through my finger, and I walked back to the make table and I was like, "Make this," and then I walked behind the store, like, outside, and the guy Craig that used to cut pizzas, he came out there dying laughing and brought some pliers, gave me a joint, and then pulled it out.
Oh my god.
Like,
Wow, you were
that
fucked
that was
up.
that was the most fun place to work ever, I'm telling you. But, I was, like, 16 and everybody I worked with were college students, and it was fun. It was amazing. Um, yeah, I actually miss those days. That was when, you didn't have bills or stresses or I don't know. It was fun.
Yeah, I mean, your biggest stress was, "Oh, I have to work in the morning. Crap, I need to get a lot."
Did your parents ever catch you drinking?
No, because I didn't do it. I never did it in my house. I didn't do it in my yard. We were always, like, at another friend's house. We were either at somebody's house or we were out at a field party, and when we were at a field party, it was always a field that was attached to somebody's house, so we could all stay there. We all just camped in the field, and, like, nobody left. So, I will say
Oh,
that
smart.
about, the group of people I hung out with. We didn't just go to, like, a random field and then everybody got drunk and left. We all knew friends that had houses that were on property. Like, we had a friend who her parents she was a farm they were farmers, and so they had a lot of property, and she would always have not always, but she would have field parties, and we would all just bring tents, and we would just stay there that night because her parents were they knew what we were doing, and they were like, "That's fine, but nobody leaves. Nobody leaves the property." So we always had that, like, we were always just, "Okay, well, we're all staying here tonight. Nobody goes home." Nobody is leaving. We would go in, they would take the keys, everybody had to turn in their keys. Um, it was like a key party. We didn't all go in a fishbowl for later. It was just everybody gave the keys, and that's how we did it.
Just said that, and I was like, "Is there something I don't know about you, Jen?"
Yeah. No. No, there's not. It's just
That's
I'm
smart.
proud of the fact that we were all smart enough that we weren't gonna endanger anybody. We weren't stupid enough to get behind the wheel, and we didn't associate with people who did. We would any type of party that was like that was a field party. It was we knew the people who were having it, we knew the house, we knew the rules, and when you got there, you turn in your keys. Period. You weren't drinking. If even if it was like, well, we have a designated driver. Yeah, well, we'll be the judge of that. Give me your keys.
That's good. I was drunk once and tried to drive. It was like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I had a stick shift, of course,
Hmm.
and, I pulled out of the apartment complex, and I realized my engine was revving, and I was forgetting to change the gear,
You weren't
and
shifting
then
gear.
and then it happened again, and I was like, "I shouldn't be driving." So I pulled over at a convenience store, and luckily my dad owned a tow truck service, so I called them and I said, "Hey, can you come pick me and my car up?" And they did.
Yeah.
And they didn't tell my dad surprisingly because they
Well, that's
always
good.
told on me.
Yeah. No,
But
that's good.
so I did, I drove about a mile. Well, then soon after that, one of my classmates, he was killed in a drinking and driving accident, and his mom came up there and asked if I could look through his truck to find a necklace. Actually, she asked if she could, and I said,
Hmm.
"No, you can't go back there, but I'll do it." And I found the necklace, but the truck smelled like this human decomposition. It was the most traumatic thing ever because I knew the kid,
Yeah.
and
Well,
I
I think
vowed
even if
at
you
that
didn't know him,
moment.
it would that would still be traumatic. It would be for
Yeah, I
me
vowed at that moment, I was like, "I will never drink and drive again," and I haven't because, like, people
because
just
you
don't.
shouldn't because it's dangerous.
Yeah, but
Yeah, you shouldn't.
the first time I did, I didn't understand the ramifications. I had
Right,
sixteen-year-old
because
brain and
you're right, because you've got feral rat brain.
yeah,
Because you're
but, I
dumb.
mean, I only made it like a mile, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I remember, leaving the next morning from one of those field parties. It was me and my friend, and, we were just driving back to my house, and like I said, they had a farm, and it was kind of farmland. wooded areas and stuff that we were driving through to get back to our neighborhood, and we had to go by this other farm. Excuse me, we had to go by this other farm, and he had cattle and a bunch of stuff, and they would occasionally cross the road and stuff like that. So I was used to that. I was like, "Well, he's got cattle. That's fine. I get that." So I turned left to go down that road where he lived, where that farmer lived, and I also didn't have my contacts in because, I took them out to sleep, and I didn't put them in because I didn't have any solution on me. So I was driving. I could see okay to drive, but I couldn't see, like, really super clearly, if that makes sense. Like, I could see the road, and
Mhm.
I wasn't in danger. It was just like, what does that sign say? Is that the street sign? But I knew where I was just in the I was getting it was very close to my neighborhood, so it wasn't like I was on, like, major, massive roads, and so I turned left, and I turned to go past this farmer's house, and there's something in the street, like, crossing the street, and I absolutely could not identify it because I couldn't fucking see, and it was not clicking in my brain with it. My brain was like, "What is that? It's green. What is it?" And I looked at my friend, I'm like, "That is a giant lizard crossing the street," and she started laughing, and I'm like, "What? That's a lizard," and she goes, "Are you fucking kidding me? Why would
What
there
was
be a
it?
giant why would there be a giant ass lizard crossing the street?" I'm like, "I don't know, there's something low to the ground and green across it." It was a peacock with his feathers down,
That's awesome.
and he was just meandering across the street getting back to the farmer's house because he lived there. But I had never seen peacocks up at night. Like, I'd never as you're driving by, you're not gonna see them. He was just crossing the street back from one field going to the other, and he didn't have his feathers up because there was no females around. So, he has little feathers down, he's just crossing the street, but he's really low to the ground, and I see these feathers dragging, and he's all bright and green, and I'm like, "There's a big lizard crossing." I was stone cold sober, I just couldn't fucking see.
Well, listen, girl, I grew up in Florida, born and raised, and, like, a lizard crossing the street isn't a crazy story because we
Well,
got,
but
like,
but yeah, but
iguanas, alligators,
for you,
crocodiles,
it's
so
not, but for me, where I
yeah,
lived, you wouldn't see a 4.5 foot lizard crossing the street. Like, it wasn't a
yeah,
tiny peacock, it was a peacock, peacocks are big,
and loud. They are so loud.
and he's just, like, minding his business across the street, and I'm like, "Look at that giant ass lizard." Idiot.
So I think you were a smarter teenager than me because I did get caught. I remember I told my parents I went to the movies, went to a party. I got dropped off at my house, and we had a hallway that, like, had a door that had never been closed, like, my whole life. Like,
Mhm.
those doors that just stay open at all times?
Yeah.
And for some reason, my parents had it closed. So I walked in and I turned the corner around my piano and just ran face first into the door. And then I was like, "Oh, excuse me." And then I turned to the side
"Excuse me,
and
kind
then
sir.
yeah, and then I ran into the wall thinking that must be where the door was. And my dad was like, "Have you been drinking?" And
What
I'm
the hell
like,
is wrong with you, Julie?"
"Not at all." And so the next morning, my dad just let me go to bed, he didn't say anything. The next morning, he woke me up at, like, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning and was like, "Get up and mow the lawn." And it was, like, 2 acres with a push lawnmower, and, I did it, and I had a friend come help me, Shannon, he was awesome. Um, but I did it, and I had a big old goose egg bruise on my forehead for my senior pictures because of that. So,
Nice.
if anybody has one of my senior pictures, there's a big old goose egg
And
from
now you
running
know
into
why.
that damn door that was never closed ever my whole entire life.
That
But,
is hilarious.
oh my god, yeah, "Excuse me?" Yeah, I'm an
"Oh,
idiot, I
excuse me,
know.
sir." You're talking to a door.
Yeah.
"Are you drunk?" "No, nothing."
Yeah, in my head, it was like, "Okay, just get in and go straight to bed. Don't talk."
Like, "You can do this. Just go in and go straight to bed. Walk into this door." Yeah, that's good too. That's also a good plan.
Like good old liquid confidence, but
I know,
you know
right?
what? Respect to my dad for how he handled it because he handled it good. That was the lesson.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
I never got caught. I think my brother did once. I never did. It's not because I was smarter. I was just like, I just knew better. I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna do
So
that.
you mentioned cow fields, and I didn't even think about that when we were talking about this, podcast, but were shrooms a thing for y'all?
Not for me. My brother had a friend who did shrooms.
Who did it?
I guess I'm either an outlier or I don't know. I like to have control of my situation and my surroundings, so I didn't really do anything harder than alcohol or pot. It wasn't appealing to me. I didn't want any part of it.
Well, that's good,
I
especially considering you're a musician.
yeah, I didn't like what I saw when people did it. I was like, they're obnoxious and annoying, or they're like even drunk people, right? And I admit that I had drank a lot, and I was drunk, and I was like, when I started seeing how it, as I got older, when you start seeing people that are your age react, you're like, oh god, they're so obnoxious, and I like that. Yeah, everybody's like that when they're fucking drunk. Everybody's obnoxious. Um, but yeah, I my brother had some friends who did it, and I was just like, "No, that's just I don't like that. That's not something I wanna do."
I did it twice.
Mhm.
One time, I didn't really feel it, like, I probably just didn't have enough because I was terrified to try it,
Yeah.
but we ate some shrooms and went to the fair and started riding Ferris wheels and stuff
Oh god.
because we thought that would be, like, the coolest thing ever, but it was
Uh-huh.
very mild, so I think I just didn't have enough. And then one other time I tried it, and this guy was talking, and his forehead was, like, growing and shrinking as he was talking to me,
His
and I
forehead was
got
fun
creeped
on the
out.
funhouse mirror right in front of your face.
It was creepy, and so I told my friends, like, "We gotta go home, I don't feel safe here, we're going home," so I took him back to my house, and I remember Summer, poor girl, I told her she looked like a skeleton and she was creeping me out, and I made her sleep on the floor. Yeah, and then I never did it
Yeah.
again.
Yeah, drugs are great,
Now
right? "You look
now
like a
my
skeleton. You're
husband
creeping me out. You sleep on the floor."
did, poor thing. Luckily, it was carpet at least, but yeah, I'm an asshole for real. That's why I'm Salty J, right?
I can't imagine telling I mean, if you're obviously, you're under the influence, so I get it, right? But you're freaking me
She
out, man.
did
You look like
it,
a
she didn't
skeleton.
argue.
You sleep your ass on the floor. Well, you probably look like one to her too.
Probably. Yeah, no, I didn't know my husband back then. We grew up in the same town, but him and his friends all got, like, trash bags of them and put them in crock pots, and, like, a bunch of kids went to the hospital and got their stomach pumped and stuff,
Yeah,
and
I would imagine.
one kid tried to eat a couch, like, he actually had couch fibers in his teeth.
See, this is what we mean when we say teenagers are have feral little rat brains.
Yeah, he still ain't right, but, we still know him. But,
Yeah.
yeah, he literally just was, like, chomping on, like, an arm foam of a couch,
Oh
and
god.
the other friend called 911, and he was also at the hospital. So, yeah, I always avoided that kinda stuff, but I just think about, like, our age and the things we did,
Yeah.
and I'm glad I didn't do that one. I'll just say I was not involved in that one.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I'm amazed that we made it through what we did,
with functioning livers.
with functioning livers. I mean, I smoked cigarettes and I drank and I sang. I don't know how I could still do it, and I did a lot of that while I was on stage too. Um, a lot of that though was from I was young, and so when you're performing in front of a bunch of people, and you need that courage, so you drink because it gives you that courage, and then I don't know why I smoked. I didn't smoke all the time when I was on stage, but every now and then I'd be like, "I need a cigarette," but I think that was because I was drinking. Yeah,
I
I don't
think
know
I
how I
really
didn't.
wanted to be
I just
cool.
don't know how I didn't screw up my voice. Yeah, and there were a lot of things that I couldn't sing, a lot of songs I couldn't sing because I didn't have that range because I was abusing my voice. As an adult, as I got older, I stopped abusing my voice and stopped doing that kind of shit and started taking care of my voice, so I sing a lot better now, and, I have a much more my range is like 4 octaves now, so it's much, much better, but, I mean, I am absolutely surprised that I could do all that
I'm glad.
and that our liver still functions.
Yeah, yeah,
And
it's crazy.
yeah,
And,
I
you know,
mean
I was gonna say now with, like, medical testing and stuff, because I've done pulmonary function tests on thousands of people,
mhm,
and I understand, like, what the smoking does and, vaping and all that. Luckily, we didn't have vaping back then, but,
Yeah.
you know, like, I'm very grateful I didn't continue to do it over the years, but I think it was
Mhm.
just like I wanted to be like the cool kids and peer pressure worked on me and, you know,
I think a
by the
lot
time
of
I hit
I think a lot of us were like that. It was just, well, that's what everybody else was doing, and so, we wanted to be included. And I mean, I would go to plenty parties where I didn't drink at all. I'm like, "Oh, I'm driving, I'm not drinking. You guys have a good time," and I still had fun. I also realized then that I was like, "Well, I don't have to drink to have a good time." Plus, when you're a teenager and there's beer, like, beer tastes terrible. The kind of beer that we drank back then. We didn't craft beers didn't
yeah,
really didn't exist, so, we were drinking Old Mill and Natural Light and, crap, like, just shitty beer because it was
Bush.
cheap. Yeah, and it tasted terrible. Like, as an adult, if I drink those beers, I'm like, "That is vile." Like, if I drink beer, I drink I live in Kansas City, so I usually drink our local beer. I drink Boulevard. I drink craft beer if I drink beer, but because I like it. As a teenager, I hated beer. It tasted nasty. It was
I'm
gross. It was
still
just
picky.
ugh.
I'm still picky. There's
Yeah.
this, Bob's Bloody Ale up in, Georgia
Uh-huh.
that's my favorite, and then Los Cayos beer out of the Florida Keys is my second favorite, but
Yeah.
I'm picky. I barely drink beer ever, but yeah,
I drink it,
yeah.
like, when we go out to a restaurant, like, like a bar type like a bar and grill type restaurant. I usually have a Boulevard. Um, or if we go to Boulevard, they have, um, and you go to their tasting room, they'll put, R&D style beers that they're working on tap, and you can have a couple of those. I had one several years ago they were working on. It was, salted caramel chocolate chip cookie, and it was a porter.
A
And it was
beer?
oh god, it was so fucking good, and they were still in R&D, and I told them, like, "This beer is so good," and they never produced it. It was so damn good.
Dang it, I would like to try that.
Oh god, it was so fucking good. I was like, "You need to
Man,
produce this beer, it's really good," and then they never it was but
I feel
I'm
like
glad I did get to taste it, but you know, as you get older, your palate changes, and, like, I remember trying to drink beer when I was a teenager. I'm like, "Nope, that's fucking gross."
I feel like things were marketed to us a lot different, like, everybody smoked Marlboro Reds, and they got, like I don't know if it was, like, things off the box that they mailed in or something like that, but they would get jean jackets or
Yeah, it was the Miles Marlboro.
yeah, so, like,
You could
that was
save up and get that iron
definitely
lung.
you're gonna need
Bought my
it.
iron lung with
Uh,
Marlboro Miles.
yeah, and, now, like, being in the medical field with the drinking and the smoking and all of that, like, I see what people have been doing to their bodies that we didn't know back then, just like how it's coming out now how bad
Well,
vaping is.
no, we
People
knew
didn't know
smoking.
when they
We
first
knew
started.
we knew smoking was bad for you. We knew drinking was bad when it was in the '80s, not the '20s. We knew smoking
I
was bad for
didn't.
you.
I
Yeah,
I
you
didn't
did. Yes,
understand
you
it.
did. On a
No,
on a on a very granular level, you absolutely did. You didn't think that cigarettes contained vitamin C in them and stuff.
no, but, like, my parents smoked in the house and cars, it was normal,
It
like,
was normal.
I
That's what I
think I
mean.
didn't understand that there
It was
was any
normal.
other
You
way.
right. You that was to you, that was a sense of it was normal.
Like
You didn't see anything wrong with it because it was normalized.
right, like, people smoked in airplanes or at offices
Well,
or,
yeah.
like
Yeah.
yeah, so life was just very different back then.
Yeah. I mean, they had, advertisements for smoking in magazines and on TV and billboards and old radio shows if you listen to old radio shows. Um, and they were marketed, and I think I don't know so much in the '70s because I was much younger in the '70s, so I didn't pay much attention to those ads then. But in the '80s, the cigarettes were certainly marketed to teenagers. They absolutely were. Between Joe Camel and the Marlboro Miles, here, try to save your
Yeah.
miles and get some free shit that says Marlboro all over it. I mean, yeah, it absolutely was marketed
I was a
to
'76
teenagers.
baby, so I'm thinking, like, the '80s and '90s are what I remember, but we also
Yeah,
had candy cigarettes, and they had, like,
yeah.
this powdered sugar around them. So if you
The
blew
wrapper
into
had
it
yeah, the wrapper had powdered sugar, and when you touched
and
it,
if you
yeah, you blew
yeah,
it.
and if you
You're like, I'm
blew it, it looked like
smoking,
smoke.
and it was bubble gum.
Yeah.
I remember
I
though.
thought those were the coolest ever.
I remember I did too. I was like, "Don't get the candy cigarettes that are like the candy candy, get the ones that are
Oh,
bubble gum."
did you have the gum that was like dip? Like it was a Big League Chew or something like that?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, I love Big
Yeah.
League Chew.
Yeah, and then one time on the bus, there was this guy, that asked me if I wanted to try dip on the school bus. I was in elementary school, and
Ew.
I put it in my mouth, and I swallowed it because I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
And I just remember being, like, green, like, I had to vomit, like,
Oh,
as soon
yeah.
as I got off the bus, I threw up and went home, and I've hated dip ever since elementary school for that,
Yeah,
so
well, maybe you
that
should thank
actually
him.
was good.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah,
you could thank him for that. Yeah. I
yeah.
I had a friend who, uh, he was it Kodiak? I don't even was it Kodiak? Was Kodiak a dip? I don't know. I just remember that I worked with him. This was after high school, but I worked with him at you couldn't go into the break room without seeing disgusting bottles full of brown, gross spit in 'em.
Ugh,
I'm like, "You're fucking nasty, dude. This is not okay." Like, I don't if you want to dip, dip. That's your shit. That's your health, but could you not leave your nasty shit laying all over the place? That's gross.
yeah,
Like,
I feel like
take your
I'm
gross
glad
bottles with you.
it's not as normal now. Like, people still do it, but it's definitely not as widespread as it used to be.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
But I think things like the Big League chewing gum certainly set us up to wanna try it because I remember thinking, "That's like the gum," when I saw 'em do it, and they would
yeah.
shake it and tap it like they were packing
I
it
see, I
down.
guess maybe I was just stupid because I just liked the Big League Chew because it was already shredded gum and it was soft and it was in a pouch. Like, I knew that it was I knew the connotations of it, right? I knew that it was like, "Oh, this is marketed to be like tobacco, but for children. It's fun, it's bubble gum, you chew it, it's not tobacco." So, I remember that, but it didn't make me wanna try tobacco because I just like I don't know, obviously my mom was a nurse or I don't know, I just knew that that shit wasn't good for you, and I was like, "I don't really have a desire to do it," and I never wanted to find out about it, and, I just liked the Big League Chew because I thought it was cute. So maybe I was just stupid.
Well, I think we're all dumb when we're kids, and we learn, and, you know, we'll go from there. I think we probably need to end this episode and plan for our next one. So I hope everybody will tune in next week.
Yep, proof.
Okay, before we take off for tonight, the top 10 songs from February 23rd, 1973. Uh, Jen, you going to go through these for me?
I am gonna go through these for you. Some you'll know, some you won't know. Some are gonna some are kind of gross knowing what we know now. But now that said, these are the top 10 songs of week of February 23rd, 1973. Start with number 10. Listen to the music by the Doobie Brothers. I know you know that song, Julie.
I don't.
I if you
I have to
heard
go
it,
through and listen to all these lists.
if you heard it, you'd be like, I totally know that song. I totally know that song. If you hear it, and since you'll be posting these to our social media page. You can have it. You have opportunity to listen to them as you're doing it. You'd be like, oh yeah, I totally know that song. Sometimes I do the same thing where you just don't know the song, the name, but you're like, oh yeah, I've heard that song. Yeah. So
I can't
that's
even
number.
remember people's names, much less like.
I mean,
But
shit.
you're
Who
right.
can't
I'm going
remember
to
when
know
we
it
had
when I
to watch?
listen.
Yeah, you will.
Yeah,
Number 9 is Rocky Mountain High by John Denver.
I know it.
Yeah, see.
Great song.
Number 8, I don't know number 8. I think you're gonna know it. Number 8 is Daddy's Home by Jermaine Jackson.
I love that song.
I don't know that song. I'm gonna have to
You
go
got to
listen to it
listen
because
to
I
it
don't
after
know.
our podcast. That's
Yeah,
like
I will have to. 'Cause I am like, what? I've never heard that song.
that's a
Um,
romance song.
that's why I never heard it. Number 7 is "Do You Want to Touch Me" by Gary Glitter, which is it's so creepy knowing what we know now about him. But that said, go listen to the Joan Jett cover version of it, and don't listen to the original. The Joan Jett cover is a banger. It's a great song. Her covers are great. I mean, every
She's
cover song she's ever
talented.
done is good. So from I Love Rock and Roll to the Dirty Deeds, they're all good. She did an entire album of covers called The Hit List, and this is one of the ones that's on it. but forget about the fact that Gary Glitter's an absolute piece of shit. That go listen to her. Just go listen to Joan Jett's version of the song, and it is a good song. So
I agree.
again, it's gross knowing what we know now about Gary Glitter, but go listen to Joan Jett's version of it. Let's see, that was number 10, 9, 8, 7. Number 6, The Night the Lights Went Out in Georgia by Vicki Lawrence.
I know that one too.
Yeah. And
Do you know
Vicki
that
Lawrence
one?
from the Carol Burnett Show. I do know that show. Not that song, not that show. I know the show. I know the Carol Burnett Show, but I do know the song. It's good.
Cool.
She's a pretty good singer. Number 5 is Could It Be I'm Falling in Love by the Spinners.
I know that one.
Yeah, that's a good song. Number 4 is Dancing in the Moonlight by King Harvest, which is
Always a classic.
It's currently being used for a medication commercial for, I think Eylea is the name for an eye medicine commercial. So.
Oh, I didn't know that. Why do they ruin all this good music?
Yeah, because that's what they do. Because they buy the rights, and then they're like, we're going to use it for our. I mean, I died
for
several
our
years.
Anal medicine.
Seriously, like I died several years ago because they were using a Judas Priest song for a minivan commercial, and I was like, okay, that's it. At that point, my pocket's filled with Werther's candies, and that was the end of it. So I was like, okay, we're using Judas Priest to sell minivans. Great, awesome. So yeah, that song. If you've seen the Eylea eye medicine commercial, that song playing in the background is the 1973 week of February 23rd. That's the 4th song. That's number 4 is Dancing in the Moonlight. Number 3 is Love Train by the OJs, which everybody knows. I know everybody knows that song.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you can't help but if you are sitting somewhere and that song's playing and you're not moving, what is wrong with you?
Something's wrong.
I mean, unless you're in church, maybe. I don't know. That is such a good song. Like, you can't help but it's a feel-good song. It makes you move. Like, you can't help it. Number 2, Crocodile Rock by Elton John.
Who doesn't know that? Everybody loves Elton John.
Yeah, everybody does.
He was an icon for us. Like,
oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So, he's so much talent. Like, so much talent. I'm always amazed by how much talent a lot of these artists have. It's incredible. It's just
I have to admit, my mom liked Elton John more than me, but the older I get, the more I love him. Like, it's like
I didn't really appreciate that stuff, his type of music. I liked some of his songs, but as I've gotten older, I'm like, oh yeah, that stuff's all good. I mean, I listened to like Goodbye Yellow Brick Road and Rocket Man. Like, those are the 2 that I really listened to back then. But as I've gotten older, I'm like, oh, a lot of this stuff's really, really good. And are you ready for the number 1 song of the week of February 23rd, 1973? Killing Me Softly with his song by Roberta Flack.
Love that song.
Yeah, that's a beautiful song.
Yeah.
So there you go.
I like even the covers of it. That's just the words to that song. It's just art.
Yeah. Do you know what that song's about?
I don't.
It was about the oh my God, why am I drawing a blank? It was about.
Do you know what it's about? I don't.
I don't either. It was about Don McLean, The Day the Music Died. It's about that song.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. I know Lauryn Hill's version more, but
yeah, I would say most people know that version. But like 1973, I was 2, so I remember hearing it on the radio in the 70s and hearing that original version when I was a kid. So I mean, I've heard it and I like it. It's a good song, but yeah, but everybody knows Lauryn Hill's cover of it. So those are your top 10 songs for the week, February 23rd, 1973, and with that, we will see you in our next episode.
Or you will hear us in our next episode, or anyway.
Yeah. You know what I mean.
Listen to us or don't. We don't care.
We don't care. We're Gen X. We're used to being ignored.
But I do kind of hope you come back.
Yeah, I mean, we hope you come back.